Bo, good morning to you. So in the span of just a few days here, you've got Meta ending its fact-checking and DEI initiatives, then Zuckerberg going on the most popular podcast to bash the Biden administration, all about a week before Trump takes office again. Is this him trying to curry favor for the next 4 years, or how do you read things?
Well, I read it as, yes, part of it is him trying to curry favor. Part of it is a natural fear of government, big government, regardless of who is in power. And why? Because of things exactly like this. What the Biden administration did here is not only appalling, it's, in my view, unconstitutional. Now, they say that they were looking to get rid of misinformation. No, they weren't. They were getting rid of, look, who was censored? You had legitimate doctors, legitimate health professionals that were censored throughout the whole COVID process. But you also had a plethora of conservative media outlets that were targeted, and news was suppressed. This is clearly unconstitutional. It is clearly an abuse of power. So yes, Mark Zuckerberg has every reason to fear what the government can do to Facebook, whether it's Donald Trump in power. I'm not saying that Trump would go to these meetings at all, but what I'm saying is the government's power can crush any company, regardless of how big they are. There is no too big to fail when it comes to the government. They will take you out if you are in their target hairs. And that is something that should alarm almost every single person that is in business.
And as you know, Bo, I mean, some of these decisions, that podcast, it's, garnered polarizing responses here. Even some conservatives say they're skeptical that Facebook has truly turned over a new leaf when it comes to content moderation. So, Bo, do you perceive this more as a PR move rather than a full-scale embrace of free speech?
I do think that there is something to it that he will honor. Look, one of the things that he said in discussing what they're doing is that even with the fact checkers, they admitted that they made mistakes. And when you have a platform that serves over 1 billion users, a mistake to even a very small percentage of people amounts to millions of people who were censored without reason. So I do think legitimately that he's looking for a better way forward with his company. Don't forget, Facebook, too, is under a lot of competitive pressure right now. There are new websites popping up. There are websites that have peeled off a lot of their younger demographics. So they want to be able to compete. They have to stay current. They have to still try to grow their user base, no matter how big it is, in light of all this. So I do think that these changes are inspired by the right reasons. They want to continue to grow the company, and they see that the model they were working on isn't working for them, and, by the way, could be driving users away from them.
Yeah, and, just to be fair, President Biden has called the end to fact-checking, quote, really shameful. We'll see how all this plays out and what Meta looks like here in the first few months of a brand new administration. Bo Snerdley, always good to have you. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Markie. Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. See you next time. Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.